While the Port Authority and YTK continue their battle in court, the former project manager for the fisheries facility, Eloy Hara, is speaking out and defending YTK from allegations that it failed to launch the business. On the contrary, Hara says the Port Authority is to blame for the failed fisheries business. Eloy Hara was a project manager hired by YTK Corp at the time the contract was established in 2001. After sitting idly by, listening to and reading the numerous reports about the Port YTK dispute, he says it's time to set the record straight once and for all. Hara may be one of the only people with a complete set of documents. He explains that the contract between the port and YTK was for a fisheries facility on Hotel Wharf. The contract term was for a period of 5 years, with the option to renew the contract up to 8 times, which, if renewed each time, would total 45 years. Legislative approval, as argued by the port, is necessary, yes, but as Hara points out, only after those first 5 years. By law, any contract over a 5-year term requires legislative approval.
That has the basically the caveat that both the port can terminate it or YTK can, gracefully bow out if it's not lucrative.
They're bound by whatever
the first 5 years.
Right,
the first 5 years.
Okay. The contract was executed with a stamp of approval by the AG's office and the governor of Guam, who at the time was Carl Gutierrez. But then there were unforeseen circumstances that delayed the project, including Super Typhoon Pongsonghua.
The effective commencement date clearly states that any and all delay, day for day, you must extend the effective commencement date and the terminal date.
According to the terms of the agreement, this meant that the effective commencement date of the first 5-year contract was no longer December 2001. It was instead moved by a couple of years because of the delay. Another delay to the project was in the approval of the master plan.
Finally, the port approved the resubmittal of the YTK master plan in May 10, 2004. So now, going back from 2004, then this contract again still have 5 more years after 2004. So that would be 2009.
By this point, Hara says he had already made advance payments of $100,000 on their lease, but the Port Authority had failed to vacate the premises of Hotel Wharf. And with tenants still in the property, Hara points out that YTK could not proceed with repairs and construction of the fisheries facility. In fact, contrary to the Port Authority's contention that YTK had never built anything and left Hotel Wharf to rot, Hara says he reminded the Port Authority of their duty to vacate the premises. The port, he explains, even put out a flyer telling tenants to vacate Hotel Wharf. But after Hara left in 2006, he never had the chance to follow up. Eventually, YTK took the Port Authority to court for breach of contract, while the port declared the contract invalid because of the 5-year legislative clause. But in almost every proceeding, the judges and justices agreed the contract was a valid one. Then came arbitration. Hara points back to the 2001 contract.
Again, the only thing that can terminate this contract is the arbitration, because it clearly stated in Article 17 that any and all disputes must be settled through a binding arbitration.
It did go to arbitration, and the panel ruled in favor of YTK, awarding them damages now worth over $15 million, which brings us back to the current dispute being litigated in the Supreme Court. Hara says Port Legal Counsel Mike Phillips may not know all the facts, since he came on board a little late in the case. And while the courts have yet to settle the remaining legal questions, the questions they cannot settle are the moral ones.